What if I told you that the most comfortable thing in your fishing setup, your chair, your tackle box that you sit on, is the very thing that's killing your bite? It happens like clockwork, doesn't it? You show up to a spot, the first 10, maybe 15 minutes are fantastic. You feel the telltale tap, you set the hook, the action is on, and then the second you decide to get comfortable, you open your thermos, you sit down on your box, it all just stops. The life drains from the water. Today, we are dissecting the 15-minute curse. It's that frustrating phenomenon where a hot spot goes ice cold the moment you settle in. And I promise you, the reason is not what you think. It has nothing to do with luck, bad mojo, or the fish just deciding to leave. It's about a simple, critical mistake that almost every single one of us makes. Before we dive in, I want you to drop a comment below and tell me, do you really believe the fish can feel you on the bank? For generations, we've had 1,000 excuses for when the bite suddenly dies. The old wisdom tells us the pressure changed, or a predator must have spooked them, or the most common one of all, they just moved on. We accept it as part of fishing. We sit there patiently waiting for them to come back, recasting into an aquatic ghost town. This belief is ingrained in our fishing culture. We see the initial success as proof that we picked the right spot and the right lure. So when it stops, we assume the variable that changed was the fish, not us. But think about the sequence of events. You arrive, you're in hunter mode, you're quiet, focused, moving with purpose. You make your first few casts standing up, testing the waters. Then once you get that confirmation, that first bite, you mentally switch gears. You think, okay, this is the spot. And that's when you begin the ritual of settling in. That ritual, that simple act of making yourself at home, is precisely where it all goes wrong. First, let's talk about that golden window, the first 15 minutes. Why is it so often successful? Because when you first arrive, you are behaving like a predator. You are instinctively quiet. Your movements are minimal and deliberate. You approach the water's edge with a degree of stealth, even if you don't realize it. Your first few casts are made with focus. You haven't started rummaging through your gear yet. You haven't dropped anything. You haven't plopped your heavy tackle box down on the ground. During this brief period, you are an unknown entity to the fish in the area. They may be aware of a presence, but it hasn't registered as a direct, consistent, ground-shaking threat. You are essentially fishing a virgin spot, even if you were there yesterday. That initial quiet approach is your greatest advantage, and most anglers give it away without a second thought right after their first sign of success, which is the ultimate irony. So when the bites stop, our immediate conclusion is that the spot is fished out or dead. We start to doubt our lure choice or our location. This is a complete illusion. The fish have not vanished. They haven't swum a mile away to a different part of the lake in the span of 5 minutes. In most cases, they are still right there. They have simply shut down. They've gone from actively feeding to being on high alert. Imagine you're a deer in the woods. You hear a twig snap. You freeze. You don't run away immediately, but you stop eating. You are listening, waiting, assessing the threat. That is exactly what is happening under the water. The fish have detected a significant disturbance, and their survival instinct tells them to stop all non-essential activity, which includes feeding, and wait for the threat to pass. The spot isn't dead. You've just put it on lockdown with your own activity. Now let's get to the real culprit. It's not the sound you make talking to your buddy, and it's not the color of your jacket. The primary enemy is vibration. Sound travels through the air, but vibration travels through the ground, and it travels with incredible efficiency, especially in damp soil near the water. Water itself is a fantastic conductor of vibration, so when you take a heavy step or drop a piece of equipment, you are not just making a noise, you are sending shock waves directly through the ground and into the water column. Think of the ground as the surface of a drum. Every impact you make on it sends a ripple outward. Those ripples hit the water, and to a fish, those low-frequency vibrations are a massive red flag. They are unnatural, they are loud, and they signal the approach of a large, heavy land animal. And in the natural world, a large, heavy land animal at the water's edge usually means danger. To truly understand this, you have to appreciate how a fish hears. They have inner ears, much like we do, but their secret weapon is the lateral line. This is a system of sense organs running down each side of their body. You can actually see it on most fish you catch. This line detects movement, pressure changes, and vibration in the water with exquisite sensitivity. It's their version of a long-range radar. It allows them to feel the panicked movements of a baitfish from yards away or the subtle current changes around a rock. It also allows them to feel you. The vibrations from your footsteps, your tackle box hitting the ground, or you shuffling your feet are transmitted through the earth into the water and are picked up loud and clear by this incredibly sensitive organ. To them, it's not a faint background noise. It's a clear and present signal that something big is very, very close. Here is a simple thought experiment to visualize this. Think about an aquarium. If you stand across the room and shout at the fish, they probably won't react much. The sound has to travel through the air, reflect off the glass, and then penetrate the water, losing energy the whole time. Now walk over to that same aquarium and gently tap the glass with your fingernail. The fish scatter instantly. Why? Because the vibration was transmitted directly into their environment. The ground beneath your feet is the glass of the lake or river. Every step you take, every time you set something down, you are tapping on the glass. The fish don't just hear you, they feel your presence in a physical, tangible way. This is why stealth on the bank is not about being quiet in the traditional sense. It's about being gentle and minimizing your impact on the ground. Let's dig deeper into how the ground acts as a giant speaker. Different types of terrain transmit vibrations differently. A solid rock ledge is like a high-fidelity amplifier. Every little scrape of your boot is sent directly into the water. A soft, muddy bank might dampen the vibrations a little, but the effect is still significant. Think about when you're walking and you can feel the faint rumble of a heavy truck approaching from far away. You are feeling the vibrations through the soles of your feet. Fish feel this across their entire bodies through their lateral line. Your 200-pound body and your 50-pound tackle box create a zone of disturbance around you that extends much further than you think. You are broadcasting your location with every move you make. The problem is, we are so used to our own weight and movement that we become completely oblivious to the seismic signature we're creating. Now let's pinpoint the exact moment the curse often begins. It's the tackle box thump. You've had a bite. You're excited. You decide this is the spot. You grab your heavy, fully loaded tackle box or your fishing crate, and you set it down on the ground. Thump. That single, low-frequency impact is like a bomb going off in the fish's world. It's not a natural sound. A falling branch or a jumping frog makes a splash or a light rustle, but a heavy, solid object thumping the earth is a clear, unnatural signal of danger. That one sound is often enough to put every fish within a 30-foot radius on high alert. They immediately associate your location with this threatening vibration. From that moment on, they are far less likely to commit to striking a lure. That single, careless action can be the difference between a great day and a frustrating one. But it doesn't stop with the tackle box thump. Think about the symphony of fish-scaring noises that follows. You sit down on your bucket or chair, which scrapes and settles into the ground. You open the noisy latches on your tackle box. Click, clack. You rummage through plastic trays looking for a different lure, creating a cascade of rattling sounds. You drop your pliers on the rocks. You open your metal thermos, which makes a sharp clink. To us, these are just the normal sounds of fishing. To the fish, it is a continuous stream of threatening, unnatural vibrations being broadcast directly into their home. It confirms their initial suspicion that a large, clumsy, and potentially dangerous creature is setting up shop right on top of them. You've gone from being a stealthy hunter to sounding like you're setting up a construction site. Let's be clear, your footsteps are like miniature earthquakes to a fish. This might sound like an exaggeration, but in terms of vibration detection, it's not far from the truth. A heavy-footed angler stomping along the bank is sending out continuous warning signals. This is especially true when you're fishing in shallow water, where there's less of a buffer between you and the fish. Every step compresses the soil and sends a pressure wave outward. If you have to move, you should walk slowly, deliberately, rolling your foot from heel to toe to minimize the impact. Think about how a heron walks, slow, silent, and graceful. It's not just for sneaking up visually, it's for minimizing the vibrations it sends through the ground. We need to adopt that same mindset. We are not just walking, we are navigating a minefield of vibrations that can shut down our spot before we even make a cast. A common argument you might hear is, well, won't the fish just get used to the noise? The answer is a definitive no. Fish do not get used to things they perceive as a threat. They might acclimate to constant, rhythmic, non-threatening sounds like the hum of a distant boat motor or the gentle lapping of waves, but the sharp, erratic, and unnatural sounds of an angler setting up camp are different. These are acute, startling signals. A fish's brain is hardwired for survival. It will not learn to ignore a vibration that could signal a predator like a bear, a heron, or, in this case, a human. It's a fight or flight response. When they detect these vibrations, they don't get used to it. They either flee the area or they hunker down in cover and refuse to feed till the perceived danger has passed. Patience on your part won't fix it because the threat, you, is still there. The depth of the water you're fishing plays a huge role in this. The 15-minute curse is far more pronounced in shallow water. If you are fishing a small stream, a pond, or the shallow banks of a lake, the fish are just a few feet away from the source of the vibrations. You. There is very little water to buffer or dissipate the energy from your movements. The effect is immediate and dramatic. In deeper water, say if you're casting off a steep drop-off, you have a bit more leeway. The vibrations still travel, but they have to go further and through more water, which dampens them. This is why you can sometimes get away with being a little noisier when fishing deep. But never assume you're completely silent. Even in 20 feet of water, a dropped tackle box sends a clear signal. The general rule is simple. The shallower the water, the more you need to act like you're walking on eggshells. It's also crucial to understand the difference between natural and unnatural sounds. A lake or river is not a silent place. There are plenty of natural sounds and vibrations. A beaver slaps its tail, a squirrel drops a nut, a branch falls into the water. Fish are accustomed to these sounds. They are part of the normal ambient noise of their world. But the sounds we make are distinctly unnatural. The sharp clank of metal pliers on a rock, the squeak of a cooler lid, the rhythmic thump, thump, thump of someone walking heavily. These have no equivalent in nature. They cut through the background noise and signal something alien and out of place. This is what triggers the alarm. Your goal as an angler should be to either eliminate these sounds or to make your presence blend in as much as possible with the natural environment. Muffle your gear, walk softly, and move with intention. Nowhere is this principle more obvious than in ice fishing. Ice is an unbelievably efficient conductor of sound and vibration. Think of it as a massive frozen drumhead stretched over the lake. Every single thing you do on the surface is amplified and sent directly down into the water. Dropping your auger, shuffling your feet in your shelter, even just setting your bucket down too hard, all of it creates a massive disturbance. This is why successful ice anglers are so meticulous. They drill their holes and then they go quiet for a long period. They know that the fish below have been completely spooked by the noise and vibration of drilling. The 15-minute curse can easily become a 1-hour curse on the ice if you're not careful. It is the ultimate lesson in how our presence on the surface directly impacts the world below. So what do you do if you've already made a mistake? You've thumped your box down and the spot has gone dead. Is it ruined for the day? Not necessarily. You can perform what I call a silent reset. This requires discipline. First, stop moving. Completely. Don't cast, don't open your tackle box, don't even adjust your seat. Just sit or stand perfectly still for a full 10 to 15 minutes. You need to allow the environment to return to its natural baseline. You are letting the fish's alarm bells turn off. You're communicating through your stillness that the threat has passed. After this period of silence, your very next movements must be incredibly slow and deliberate. Your first cast should be soft. This technique can sometimes salvage a spooked spot, but it's far better to avoid spooking them in the first place. If you ever watch professional tournament anglers, especially the ones who excel at sight fishing in shallow water, you'll notice they move differently. They don't stomp around the boat. They use trolling motors on low power. They place items down. They don't drop them. They treat the deck of their boat like it's a sacred platform. They understand that every vibration they create in the boat is transmitted through the hull and into the water. This mindset is not just for boaters. The best bank anglers I know operate the same way. They have a pre-planned system. They know exactly what lure they'll start with. They carry only what they need to the water's edge, leaving the bulk of their gear back at the car. They are masters of minimizing their footprint, both literally and figuratively. They are hunting, not just hanging out. Take a critical look at your own gear. How much noise does it make? Do the latches on your tackle box snap shut with a loud crack? Do your metal tools clank together when you walk? These are problems you can solve. Line the bottom of your tackle box compartments with thin craft foam. This will stop lures and weights from rattling around. Wrap a thick rubber band or a piece of tape around the handles of your pliers and forceps to keep them from clanking. Consider switching from a hard tackle box to a soft tackle bag, which makes far less noise when you set it down. You can even put foam padding on the bottom of your cooler or tackle box. Every little bit of sound and vibration dampening you can do adds up. Your goal is to create a stealth kit that allows you to operate in near silence. The solution to the 15-minute curse is to change your entire pre-fishing ritual. Instead of rushing to the water's edge and setting up shop, do it differently. Find your spot. Then take a step back, maybe 20 or 30 feet from the water. This is your staging area. Here is where you get everything ready. Open your tackle box. Tie on your first lure. Get your drink out. Prepare everything you will need for the next hour. Once you are 100% ready to fish, leave the bulk of your gear in the staging area. Carry only your rod and maybe a small pocket box of lures to the water. This way, all the noise and commotion happens far away from the fish. When you approach the water, you are ready to fish silently and efficiently from the very first cast. You never have to settle in at the water's edge. The core of this issue is a psychological shift that happens in our minds. When we arrive at the lake, we are hunters. We are focused, alert, and stealthy. But the moment we get that first bite, our mindset changes. We receive validation that we're in the right place, and our brain switches from hunter mode to harvester or tourist mode. We relax. We get comfortable. We stop paying attention to our noise and our movement. We feel like we've earned the right to be there. But the fish don't know that. They only know that the quiet, cautious presence has suddenly turned into a loud, clumsy one. To be consistently successful, you must maintain the hunter's mindset for the entire time you are fishing. Stay focused, stay quiet, and stay deliberate in every single action you take. This forces us to reevaluate what patience in fishing really means. We often think of patience as the ability to wait for a bite for a long time. But true angling patience is not just waiting, it's the discipline to remain still and quiet. It's the patience to take an extra 5 minutes to set up your gear far from the water. It's the patience to move slowly and deliberately along the bank, even when you're excited to get to the next spot. It's the patience to perform a silent reset when you know you've made too much noise. Simply waiting in a spot that you've already contaminated with vibration is not patience. It's a waste of time. True patience is about maintaining the conditions that make a bite possible in the first place, and that all starts with stealth. Finally, you can turn this 15-minute rule into a powerful tool. Use it as a diagnostic. If you consistently find that your bite dies after 15 minutes, it's a clear sign that your setup process is the problem. It's direct feedback from the fish. Start timing yourself. Pay close attention to exactly what you do between the first cast and the 15-minute mark. Are you moving around? Are you opening and closing your tackle box? Are you setting things down? By recognizing this pattern, you can pinpoint your own bad habits and start to correct them. The 15-minute curse is not a mystery. It is a predictable outcome of a specific set of actions. Once you understand that, you hold the power to break the curse forever and enjoy longer, more consistent periods of action. So there you have it. The 15-minute curse isn't a curse, it isn't bad luck, and it isn't a mystery. It's a simple, predictable consequence of our own behavior. The fish aren't leaving. We are actively telling them to stop biting with every heavy step and every tackle box we drop. The most profound takeaway, the real aha moment here, is this. You must shift your entire mindset. You are not a casual visitor at the lake. You are an intruder in a wild environment. The moment you forget that, the moment you get comfortable and start acting like you're in your own backyard, your hunt is effectively over. You transform from a stealthy predator into a noisy tourist, and the fish react accordingly. Understanding this single concept, that vibration is your true enemy, will fundamentally change your approach to bank fishing forever. Thank you so much for watching and for letting us challenge some old-school thinking. If this video gave you a new perspective on your own fishing habits, do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive. Give this video a like if it was helpful. And now for my final question to you. What is the single loudest piece of gear you own? And what's one creative way you plan to silence it after watching this? Let's brainstorm some solutions together in the comments below.